What's up, guys? Sorry I'm a little bit late. Uh, didn't mean for this to run as long as it did. Um, Unfortunately, uh, I was too busy trying to set up the article I had set up for this. So, and it was like 14 pages or something crazy. So I don't even know if I'm going to read the whole thing. So, Trey Sargent, what's up? Or Troy Sargent, Trey Sargent, what's up? Timothy Green, what's up, my dude? You know how great they are. That's true. What's up, Jacob Yoho? Wait to see if anybody comes. Um, I didn't advertise this very much. I'm not at home either. I'm at my sister's. Um, so our offensive line got snubbed, man. There's no other way to put it. Um, I mean, you could. There's arguments to be made. You know, are they the best offensive line in college football? I don't know. I think Michigan, you know, for where they are in the standings, who they are as a team, overall record, what they've done in back-to-back years is extremely impressive, and I definitely don't want to take that away from them. But for our guys not to be in the conversation pisses me off, and honestly, I hope it motivates Frazier to come back next year. Um, would it be detrimental to him? Probably. You know, it could be, as far as on a he could get hurt. You know, there's many things that could happen. So, yeah, I saw that, Trey. Shuck, he can't stay healthy, man. He's been trying to. He's in his sixth year for a reason. Um, I don't know if you mean like as far as for West Virginia or not, but I personally wouldn't want to take that risk on. I think there'll be other players in the portal to get that maybe a little bit less likely to get hurt, but I've been wrong before. Oops, sorry. So there was an article by the Times West Virginian that I liked that kind of talks about the mentality for this team and the offensive line specifically. I'm going to read that for you guys real quick if you don't mind. It says WVU offensive line snubbed for a national award. The WVU offensive line had a chip on the collective shoulder. In any football game, there's always a battle that is fought unnoticed. A sumo wrestling match in the trenches between men weighing 280 to 340 pounds, large, strong, and agile in knee. They are clad in huge shoulder pads, their knees wrapped in contraptions known as braces. Their arms are bruised and cut, some healing up from week to week, but they get no sympathy for what it is they are signed on for. They're offensive linemen. Unless they are Mean Joe Green, the Coca-Cola, what the heck? Sorry about that. Seems like I had the same thing back to back. Zach Frazier is West Virginia's All-American center, and he was playing his final home game. Just 15 miles up the road from where he grew in Fairmont, Dante Corleone, yes, he's known as the Godfather, is 300 pounds of a nose guard lined up across from him. A preseason All-American who is the highest-ranking defensive line in the country last year. Forget Ali Frazier. This was being billed as a true heavyweight championship fight, only no one would be shouting, "Down goes Frazier," as it turned out. The battle up front belonged to West Virginia as an angry group who a week ago against Oklahoma got run over in a 59-20 defeat, and who during the week had suffered an award nomination snub. And that's important to mention right there. The week of this nomination, unfortunately, the Oklahoma game preceded that. And really probably is a lot of the reason for the snub. And they performed well in that game. I think it's a no-brainer. They're in this conversation. They were ready for action, and when the blood dried, WVU had a 42-21 victory and had built it with 424 rushing yards, 200-yard rushers, enjoyed a lot of clear selling thanks to Frazier and company. The game was won in the trenches, WVU quarterback Garrett Green said. They have a really good interior, and I thought our own line played phenomenal. We really controlled the ball. Green used the blocking up front to help him to 364 total yards, 210 through the air, and 154 on the ground. He was joined by freshman running back Jaheim White in triple digits. His triple digits, reading out 204 rushing yards. All season, they had been among the nation's best, but this is otherworldish. Our own line is the best in the country, Green said. Every week, I watch those blocks on tape. I look at Frazier as blocking two people. Wyatt Milam is blocking someone 50 yards downfield. There's all kinds of stuff that I see. Between their hit pride, took at Oklahoma, and then the Joe Moore announcing its 10 semifinalists for the best offensive line in the country this week and leaving them out, well, let's just say there were some bruised egos and angry offensive linemen. You know, the Joe Moore Award came out with semifinalists, and I thought it was an absolute farce that our guys weren't involved in that. Neil Brown said, coming into the game, we were seventh in the country in rushing, and we should be in the top five after this game. We ran for 424 yards. We were seventh in the country in fewest sacks allowed. Look at those stats. I don't make a hard argument that we're the best O-line in the country. We should definitely be in the semifinals. I hope when the finalists come out, they reconsider and actually watch some film, verbally pointing a finger at whatever committee makes such decisions for not doing their job, which is kind of funny. That was something that our guys took offense to today, and they took it out on Cincinnati, I thought. It was a slap in the face to our program. I hope they look at our body of work. Frazier's in the middle of the line with Wyatt Milam, normally Doug Nestor, who missed the game with an injury, and at the tackles with Tomas Remack and Huey Hubbard at the guards. Frazier and Nestor will surely be in the draft next year, and Milam looks like he is a future first-round pick. At the point of attack, Wyatt Milam is special, Brown said. I thought Zach Frazier really took the match with Corleone personally. I don't know how it went, but stats-wise, it went pretty well for us. We'll see the video. I thought Thomas and Jaquay Hubbard, sorry guys, and Nick Malone played really well as well. Anytime you run for that many yards, tight ends are doing well at the point of attack. All of that comes out in tape studies, but it's hard to argue what the eyes saw. There was, for example, one of White's numerous double-digit yardage runs where Frazier simply led him down the field. The short but strong running back acted as his caboose as Frazier cleared the tracks in front of him. The line with a really strong blocking performance for the wide receiver group made it possible for this statistic to become reality. WVU had 10 plays of 20 or more yards. Green accounted for 6 of them, and White 2. But White had 9 runs of 10 or more yards and that 75 touchdown pass from Green. So that states it pretty clearly to me. And you know, at the end of the day, man, numbers are hard to argue with, but also the performance of this group all year long. I mean, they perform well in the Penn State game. They performed well in the Oklahoma State game. They played well against ranked opponents outside of Oklahoma, and it would be a shame that one game. But maybe the Joe Moore Award, unfortunately, you can't afford that one game, and Oklahoma just happened to be it for us. So I don't know. 4-star offensive line Marcus Hicks of Oklahoma is also in the portal. And USC Jamar Sakona, a D-line, 3 stars in the portal. Yeah, I didn't know that. But obviously we're going to need a center. Brandon Yates can play center, and maybe they'll roll with that. But we'll have to retool the offensive line a little bit. I'm on record talking about I love this offensive line. I love the room that they built. I love the depth that they built in that room. And we've got a ton of upcoming guys that could really step in and possibly be great. We'll have to see. But Sully Weidman, Nick Malone, those two are 2 guys right off the rip that you look at and say, well, they might be ready to play as soon as next year. And then also Kyle Altuner, who I think is going to come and push for playing time immediately, right away, right off the block, coming out of high school. We'll see. Thought Garrett Green looked good throwing the ball as well. Yeah, outside of I was angry early in the game. Obviously, now you got to think. We're coming off the Oklahoma game where he played his worst game of his career, and then he missed that very first deep ball to Preston Fox down the seam. And I thought, here we go again. And I put a tweet out there. But after that, he really took control of the game. And Garrett is never going to be a pinpoint accurate passer, but we don't need him to be that. We just need him to put it in the zip code for guys, because it's one thing to be on target. It's a whole other thing to do what Patty Mahomes does, where they're literally spotting the ball, you know, within a 6-inch radius of somewhere. So I don't know if Garrett's ever going to get to that level on the short and intermediate throws, but he's definitely gotten him better. And you know, uh, I mean, he went to the Manning Passing Academy, things like that. I think another year in the system, he'll slow down for him. Even last night, and I don't know if this was by design or not, but he was definitely uh, breaking off the first initial read. He wasn't going through progressions really. I mean, that may be by design. You look at a guy like Joe Milton in Alabama, and they triangulated all his receivers to one side of the field, so he only had to read half of the field. That's smart for guys that run with it, because it gives them they can come off a read real quick and run instead of being so not it kind of muddies up the picture and stuff like that. Nobody said I never claimed he was going to go to the league, but to be a good college football team, you don't have to have an NFL quarterback. So you just have to have a really good college quarterback. You saw Georgia win one with a borderline NFL quarterback a couple years ago. Just Pat White was never going to be a great NFL quarterback. He was just a little bit too ahead of his time. It depends on what kind of offense you run. So many things. So, but at the end of the day, we're not looking for a pro out of Garrett Green. Yeah, pretty much, Trey. And I, it's going to be, like I said, my sources have told me, as far as the WVNIL situation, that it's going to be really healthy. Um, I'm expecting WVU to be able to go out and get 2 to 3 Power 5 players on each side of the ball. And then you got to count on guys like Maltre Miller, who was injured this year, of getting a medical red shirt. And they were really excited about him. We'll see if he can maybe step in off a medical red shirt year and play for us next year. Aubrey Burks is a kid that really didn't live up to his potential this year. I mean, he was billed as a first team All American in the preseason. And although he hasn't played bad by any stretch of the imagination, he certainly, I thought, could play better, and hasn't really lived up to what we thought. So, and a lot of that has to do with there were just holes in the defensive places, and then also having to play zone coverage so much. So I don't know, man. Nate Yarnell wouldn't last versus WVU. As a fan, glad to see WVU winning. Still think Neil Brown sucks. Yeah, oh, absolutely. I brought this up. You might not have seen the stream yesterday, man, but Trey Lathan obviously is one of the. He's obviously who I'm excited. I think most of us are really excited about the possibility of him returning. But don't forget Josiah Trotter, 4-star kid that got hurt in camp. Unfortunately, will be back in the middle. He'll probably be the one replacing Lee Koba, unless they put Trey Lathan there. Maybe they do. And don't be surprised to see Trey Lathan possibly move to the bandit position. He's that good of a pass rusher. We'll see what happens. Um, and then obviously, I'm a big fan of a lot of these younger guys. Uh, Ben Cutter's only going to get a year better. And then you look at a guy like James Hurd Jr., who's a 4-star kid that's definitely got the chops to become an elite pass rusher. I truly believe that. Go if you don't know, go look up James Hurd Jr. right now, and go look and see why he was a 4-star, not composite player. He was a 4-star guy on Rivals and 247 Sports as a pass rusher coming out. I really do like his tape. He's out of high school. He's one of the best pass rushers I've seen us get in a long time. So we'll see. Man, it would be a dream come true. But I have sources that told me that he was actually one of the players that almost transferred in the off season. So believe it or not, he's a West Virginia guy and all that, but they had to pay him to keep him here this year, and he deserved it. Don't get me wrong. Um, but my thing is, think of it this way, Timothy. Let's say we keep Zach Frazier. Does it hamper us in other spots financially because he's going to take a big contribution from the trust? I mean, it's not like he's going to play for free, and he would definitely come into the next year as the favorite probably to win the Remington Award, which is the best lineman in college football, the best best center, which we've had somebody win that before in Dan Moses. Um, you're gonna have to give up some money for a kid like that. So do we just restock? Because I think first of all, everybody said Matt Moore needed to be fired probably needs to rethink that now. Um, I don't like what our line does schematically all the time, but at the end of the day, he has developed. They've got a great thing going, and I'm really proud of Coach Moore and what they've done with the offensive line room. So those dudes are ready to roll. I highly doubt it, Trey. I do, man. I just don't. I would love for it to happen, but from what I understand, now I don't know this to be true, but it's been hinted at to me by people who were there, former players, that he was kind of a cancerous personality in the locker room. I don't know that, but I've been told by people that were there. So, um, Neil Brown talked about that in the offseason leading up to the 2022 season, that there were some people they needed to get out of the locker room. And, there was only a few people to really choose from. And so he may have been one of them. We'll see. No problem, man. Yeah, when it comes to this, we have to start thinking of this like you do your favorite NFL team or a Major League Baseball team or your favorite NBA team. Whenever you want to fight for a player to stay, look at the landscape and think, or can we just develop in house a player that's three quarters as good and get him for cheaper? Now you don't want to do that at every position, but like center, although center is an important position, it's not even the top five most important positions on a football team. Quarterback, left tackle, corner, right? Those are your three most important right off the rip. Then you get to the defensive line, pass rush. And really, I mean, you could go pass rush and maybe in the two slot. But I mean, at the end of the day, these are the main positions, right? Quarterback, pass somebody at the pass rushing, got to have a corner, got to have a left tackle, you know. So those are the guys you pay first. Wyatt Milam, you pay him, right? At the end of the day, or I guess if maybe it's Nick Malone if Nico Markiel plays, but that blind side is always needs to be kept, clean. Joseph Westfall wants to know, John Waffle, what bowl of spit going to, and when did you play in the league? I assume he's talking about you talking about Garrett Green earlier. Yeah, he might not even be in here anymore. Not even sure. But so let me know in the comment section, guys. What do you guys think? Should West Virginia shell out money for a guy like Zach Frazier if he's willing to stay? Or should West Virginia just say, you know what, Brandon Yates, you've been the last week, last 2 weeks, I think he was the highest graded pass blocker we have. He's a good player. It's not like he's not a good player. Everybody on our offensive line is a good Power Five player. Um, I don't know. You know, But overall, man, I just wanted to do a quick video tonight on this offensive line. I feel like they deserve the love. They were snubbed, and there's a lot of good players on this O line that I think are going to prove people wrong down the line. Hopefully, it's down the line. You know, I mean, like we're going to lose the center and right tackle in Nestor, and yeah, Timothy. Yeah, I've watched this film. He looks to be a good player. Uh, you know, I've only seen probably about an hour of his film, so I really haven't gotten into it a lot yet. But um, he's a work in progress still to me. I mean, he definitely needs to tidy up his footwork, and he has a lot of natural arm talent. But he's got some things that he's correcting. But man, is he can run with it a little bit. He's more of a Nico type runner than he is a Garrett type runner. He doesn't have elite speed that I can tell. He is a dual threat, but he is elusive, you know. But he's not Garrett. Like he's not blowing your doors off. He's more of a thrower of the football. So yeah, and maybe it's the offer you made him this past year because they definitely made him an offer. I don't know what it was, but he got paid. So and he's got to. He's got a wife, you know, and he's probably working on having a kid almost every night. I'd say. So we'll see. Yeah, it's exactly right. That he said, pull Zach into a boardroom and ask him what him and his wife wants. It's a good way to put it. Um, what do they want? Guys, if you want to leave a super chat tonight, you know, just hit the donate button down at the bottom with a little dollar sign. It's always appreciated when you can do it. Uh, just always like to throw that out there just as a reminder. If you're watching this after the fact, it'll still allow you to donate. I won't see it until later, but I'll always be grateful for that kind of stuff. Um, and I'm just grateful that you guys are even here. So if you don't care, guys, there's 32 of you in here right now, which is a low number. But I didn't really advertise this a whole lot. Um, if you don't care, step out and hit that like button. It helps out a lot with the algorithm. That way, YouTube knows people want to see this. And also, um, you know, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Don't forget to leave a comment though below uh, at some point tonight if if you're watching this after the fact, so that we know that you enjoyed the video or something like that. He has, but you know, I'm not trying to disagree with you, but you say transitioning from group of five to power five. Is that really the same for a kicker than it is another position? I was just, thinking out loud, like, I mean, I, I feel like there are probably some things that would be a little different. I mean, obviously the length and athleticism of the guys you're trying to get the ball up over, uh, that's probably different. But other than that, it's probably pretty much just kicking the ball. I'm probably overthinking your comment too. That's something I do. W Mountaineer Lower with Kenny. What's up, buddy? Appreciate you for being on here, man, as always. Let's say Christopher Miller said they're going to take big time wide receiver. That's definitely another somewhere we need to improve. And it's not like they didn't try to get some guys last year. In my inbox, I've told you guys several times, Xavier Weaver at Colorado and the other guy, number 5 at Colorado, Jim Horn. I spoke to both of those guys in the offseason when they were in the portal. Once I heard they were visiting West Virginia, um, Daniel Grisiak from Cincinnati on their defense last night was another guy, and then dozens of others. We almost had a few of those guys. The kid from Austin P that went to Texas Tech, that had the big return against us. We almost got all those guys, and none of those guys. I mean, Weaver and Horn at Colorado have been pretty good for them, and would have helped our receiver room. But no, none of those guys are what we've had in the past. We need a David Sills, we need a Stebbin Bailey, we need a Tavon. We need that, and I just every school's got donors. Every school's got a little bit of money. You know, we've got to figure out a way to win in this new climate, at a higher level than everybody else. So Oklahoma and Texas are leaving the conference, guys, and while it hurts our credibility as a conference, we're still going to have to figure out a way to be different in this conference. Who's going to be the cream that rises to the top in the Big 12? Is Arizona going to come in here and shellac everybody next year, because they could possibly be the favorite with all the, unless Jed Fish leaves, which people are saying he might. That dude right there has a squad coming back next year that, quite frankly, I don't want to play. They've got a really good football team in Arizona. If Kyle Whittingham sticks around in Utah, they're going to be back and tough again. And then Gundy can coach. And if Lance Leipold somehow stays at Kansas, this is going to be such a competitive conference, guys. I'm just wondering, how can we keep up in a conference like this? Deion's going to be. Listen, Deion may not have won the 4 games this year, but he's going to bring in 5-star guys in the offseason. There's no doubt about it. It's still going to happen. There's still going to be a lot of people that want to play for him. He'll probably have the number 1 or number 2 overall portal class. And add that in with, they got the skill talent. They just didn't have it in the trenches. So if they get 3 or 4 guys on both sides of the ball in the offseason, look out for Colorado. I think Colorado could be sneaky for sure, because with Deion there, they're always going to be able to get the guys now. Similar to Jimbo. Yes, yes, it is. Oh, he's really good. Yeah, there's no doubt about it, man. I actually sent Kuz a video of him the other day. He's electric with the ball in his hands. He's a true dual threat. He's got long speed. He's extremely elusive. He's basically like a running back with the ball in his hands, and he can make the throws. I truly think, Arizona, they're so young. I mean, they're similar to us. We got all the young talent too, and I don't mean to discount that. I guess it's because Neil Brown's coaching it. you know, um, Although we're having a good year, I still can't get over the facts, guys. We all know the numbers. Everybody says them every day now. But the biggest thing that bothers me about Neil is I can get over the not being ranked in 5 years. Honestly, I can't. That's out of your control, being ranked or not. In a sense, you know, if you're a 6-win football team, that's what you are. So maybe like the teams we had that won 6 games. If an excellent coach was here, maybe we would have won 8. But what I can't get over is the losses to teams that were ranked or finished the year ranked on the road. And what is it now, 25 or 26 against teams on the road that are ranked or turn out to be ranked. That's the tough one for me to swallow. And I don't know when he's going to get that monkey off his back. This team was good enough to win on the road this year. And we didn't have a whole lot of chances because we played the 4 new teams. But does anybody know what our record would have been? Let's say we trade BYU and UCF, 2 teams we beat pretty handily, for Kansas and Kansas State. What's our record then? Does anybody know? Does it matter? I mean, should that be held against him? I'm just asking the questions. I'm not saying for sure one way or the other. But I'm curious to know what everybody thinks about that. I mean, does everybody just want to say, no, we won the games that were on our schedule? I don't know. I don't know how I turned Noah Fafita into all that. I did. Yeah, and Cam Rising's coming back for another year. So that sucks. I was really hoping he hit the portal. Well, as they are this year, I mean, look, I don't know. I mean, if Arizona and Utah add to the teams they are right now, I think that's still ahead of where we're at in progress. Maybe I'm wrong, but Arizona's seriously turning into one of the best teams in the country at the end of the year. They're you maybe you haven't paid attention. I'm not sure, but I'm not saying you haven't. Are you talking about Arizona? I don't have their schedule. No, not sure, buddy. Honest question. This exact team with Rich Rod and Rick Trickett as the O line coach. Tell me we aren't a better team and more competitive. Well, it's not the offense I'm concerned about, Chris. It's the defense. It's not the offense outside of Oklahoma. The offense hasn't been a reason in any game really, and maybe you could say outside of Penn State. Uh, the offense really hasn't been the reason, you know. Uh, Now, have we run Rich Rod's offense with the team we have assembled? I definitely think this team's built for that offense. Absolutely. Sorry, my nephew's autistic, guys. He has outburst stuff. So if you guys hear him up there, he's dealing with a lot right now. He broke his leg. He's having to try to walk around, and it stresses him out a lot. So I didn't say passing us up as a program. I'm just saying as far as next year. I mean, the teams that they have assembled right now, Noah Fafita as quarterback is electric. They have a bunch of young talent that aren't going anywhere unless they leave. But if Arizona has the same team, basically the same team, and adds to the team they are right now, I'm just saying for next year, not overall in the big picture. I mean, maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe I'm in denial. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's fair to say the Pac-12 has been, I mean, it's not like it's pretty close between the Pac and the Big 12, but at the top, I was thinking this yesterday. I think I'll take Texas over Washington. I think Texas's defense would win that football game, and I think Oklahoma could compete with Oregon all day long. I really do. Uh, do I think Oklahoma State could play with, or Oklahoma State, or Kansas State, or whoever you think third best in our conference is? Do I think they could play with Oregon, or Oregon State, or Utah, or Arizona? I do. So, what's up, man?
Hey man, how you doing?
Good. I was wondering if you was gonna jump on.
Yeah, I'm not able to. Don't have time to set up my computer and all that, but figured I'd jump on with my phone real quick.
Right. So,
Didn't have anything to do for a few minutes.
heck yeah. We're just chatting it up.
So what's the
Appreciate that, Timothy Green.
What's the gallery's opinion on the O line for the most part?
Well, something I hadn't considered was, and I'm not saying this is technically their opinion, but something I wanted to bring up is we chose a bad week to play like we did in Oklahoma because they did the voting mostly that week, right? Leading into that next week.
Yeah.
Had we performed against Oklahoma, even scored with them, I think, but I think a lot of voters said, well, maybe they're not as good as everybody thought
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
And really, we saw the pass blocking grade in that game was really good. It was a game we had a Garrett problem in that game.
Yeah.
Not that the offensive line didn't have its share of issues, but Oklahoma is too talented of a football team if you're one dimensional. Even the best offensive lines
Hmm.
can't beat good teams whenever they're made to be one dimensional. So
Right.
for whatever reason, Garrett just didn't have it that day. There were open receivers. So
Right. Yeah, and he admitted that as much.
yeah, yeah. And that's one of the things that worries me about him. The next year is we might have a team that could win 10 or 11 games next year if everything comes together, portal and guys we need to stay. Uh, and then he has a game like that. That's something I worry about.
Yeah, I was surprised that Zach Frazier didn't have a great game apparently yesterday, as far as his
Against
PFF.
Corleone,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean his PFF grade wasn't very good.
57.
Yeah, and his run block grade was 29. I mean his pass blocking grade was only 29.
Right,
That's terrible. But
right,
the unit as a whole played well, but he didn't have his best day.
right. I haven't watched the tape. Um, I hate for me when I look at Pro Football Focus, I like to think of that as like a third of what I would
Yeah,
grade
yeah,
him if
I
I was
get it.
looking at it.
Right.
So because they have like you said, let's say, and this probably never happened with Zach, but let's say he misstepped on a block and it didn't hurt the play because the ball was going away from him. Well, they'll still grade that, you know,
Yeah. Right.
like, even though it
I mean,
didn't hurt, it's weird the way they do things.
yeah, I mean, the few plays I don't focus in on the lineman when I'm watching the game. I did for a few plays. The few plays I honed in on, I mean, it looked like he did okay. I mean, I didn't really see an issue, and there was somebody showed a clip of him blocking two guys on one play
Yeah,
once. So I mean,
yeah.
I don't.
Well, I think Corleone, man,
Yeah,
it's nothing to be ashamed of. He'll probably be a top 20 pick.
it's not,
So
but every time he's went against somebody like that, he's had some of his worst games.
I don't know about. I mean, he dominated the kid from Baylor last year.
I'm talking about this year. The kid from Houston got the best of him, the Caesar kid, and he didn't have
I
a
didn't.
great
I
he
didn't.
didn't have a great game. And I'm talking strictly Pro Football Focus grades now. I'm not looking at tape, but and then the Oklahoma game he didn't play very well either.
Right. Um.
But that being said, if you look at his overall body of work, he's an NFL draft pick. So
Right. Well, there are things they ask him to do too, man. Like he's responsible for so much. So
right.
like, and the things they ask him to do, some of the things he has to block from the center position are really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, I wish I knew the lingo, um,
They're asking
but
him to
they're
pull for
asking
one
him.
thing,
Yes, that's another
which
thing.
you don't see. You don't see centers pulling in football.
No, it's pretty wild. So
Yeah. And John, I
somebody
did
has
see
to.
that play. That was pretty cool to see him basically carrying Jaheim White down the field.
Kenny won't hear nothing about Neil Brown.
Negative or positive?
Negative.
Oh,
He ain't having it.
he likes Neil, huh?
Yeah. Dang, Luke. Lucky. So, Coos, I brought this up earlier before. I don't know if you heard me talking about Wang giving a guy like Zach Frazier, who's not even the top five most important positions on the field. Center is not a top five most important position on a
I
football field.
disagree with that.
It's just fact. It's fact. They say. I mean, Any GM will tell you that. You don't draft center. That's why the best, even Creed Humphrey, one of the best centers in history, went in the third round. They're
Okay.
just not
Well, you're
priority.
talking about from NFL draft standpoint. I got you.
Well, on the football field, you want pass rush, you want corner, you want quarterback. Those are three right off the rip. You got to have more than you need at center.
Well, if your center can't snap the ball, I guess you can't even run the play.
Well,
One.
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, but your center
That's a
has to be
given,
able to
though.
play.
Yeah, that's a given, though. I
But
guess the snap is a given.
there are other players, other positions that are more of a priority than a
Yeah,
center.
I get it.
Is what I'm saying.
Yep, makes sense.
So I guess I was just trying to weigh against like, do you pay a guy like Zach Frazier an inordinate amount of money, or do you try to move Brandon Yates into that spot and focus elsewhere, or whatever you got planned?
You talking about from an NIL perspective?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a fair argument.
You know, I just don't know, and I mean, obviously they know, but
I think Zach's already made a decision to move on anyway because he's already accepted an invite to the Senior Bowl. He walked yesterday on Senior Day, so I'd say he's probably.
yeah. That's been the most people have assumed this all year. Um, you don't go to the Senior Bowl, but feedback matters, and if he doesn't get the feedback he's looking for,
He could change his
also
mind.
this Joe Moore thing,
Mm-hmm.
and let's say Brandon, Tomas, and Wyatt all say, hey, we're going to give another shot. You know, maybe they come back to try to do the Joe Moore thing. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? It'd be nice.
Yeah,
I mean, we know
yeah.
Doug Nestor's gone, but I'm like Luke. I think they've been playing just as well as Malone in there. We don't see
It
much of
hasn't been much difference.
we don't see much of a drop off when he's in the game, man, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So would he be the candidate to move to left tackle if we lost Wyatt?
I would think
Do we
so.
know?
My gut tells me that, unless they think Johnny Williams is good enough to do that. If Johnny
Yeah,
Williams is
I'm
more
excited
athletic,
about him too.
Johnny Williams is more athletic. They might
Yeah,
put him at left tackle and he's longer, I think. So that would probably help.
it just seemed like 2 years ago everybody hated Matt Moore.
Yeah, and I still have my moments where I don't. But at the end of the day, I mean, when you look at the fact that we're top 10 in the country in sacks allowed and rushing yards, I think that's
Yeah,
really all you need to know.
yeah.
We've averaged 140 yards. We've got how many consecutive games 140 yards rushing now? We lead the nation in that category. So it's hard to argue against those stats.
Yeah. I wonder what this offense would look like with Rich Rod plugged into that offense. Just that scheme. I can't get it out of my head, man.
You're not the only one. I'm not one of them,
You know,
but yeah, I don't know.
Timothy Green said it'd be nice to see Zach walk 2 times
Yeah,
next
I'd love to have
next year
Zach
and
back,
this year.
but I agree. I'm with Paul though. I think if it comes down to where you put your money, I think you obviously you want to bring Wyatt back. I think he's your top priority at the left tackle spot,
He's top priority altogether to me.
even over Zach, in my opinion.
Yeah, all the others, no doubt.
Um,
He's got more upside.
because I think I don't. To me, there's no advantage to Zach coming back. For him personally, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know that he can improve this draft stock any more than he. I mean, maybe he could, but like you said, if the NFL is never going to draft a center higher than the third round, second or third round anyway, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. If he was any better at playing offensive line, he would play another position. And because the center on the offensive line is viewed as the least valuable piece as far as how GMs draft. Guards and tackles get snatched up before centers do.
But don't I mean
And
isn't the center the quarterback of the offensive line
it
basically?
is, it is, but it's easier to find a guy at center as far as what the priorities are or what they require of them physically. It's a head up position.
Gotcha.
It's a neck up position. It's not you don't have to be a freak of nature to play center, you know, which is why guys like, the kid from Wisconsin a few years back that had like shortest arms ever drafted for a lineman ended up being a pretty good player because he was so smart. It's all about body positioning. I mean, you got to be strong, but you can get in the weight room and get yourself there. For the most part, if you're big enough to play offensive line at the Power Five level, most of the time, and then in center, and then if you're smart enough to do it, you can succeed at center pretty much. Now there are physical freaks that play center as well. I mean, it happens,
Yeah.
but there are guys that get by, teams that get by with guys like trying to think of one that we've had. Uh, Nothing comes to mind, but off the top of my head anyway, we've
You talking
had
about?
guys,
You mean at center?
yeah, just guys that were maybe weren't most physically gifted, but they were smart.
Tyler Orlowski.
Yeah, like a Tyler Orlowski. That guy never played down on the league. But at least started.
But he was wasn't he an all conference guy, or at least close to it?
Yeah, he wasn't bad at all. No, he wasn't a bad player, but he was another guy that was really smart. So
Somebody had a question there, Paul, that I think will be an interesting conversation. Do you think Nico awaits from Silas? Do you think Nico awaits another season as backup to be QB1? Sure hope he does. Can't wait to
no,
see him.
no, there's no way, man. I think Neil's gonna have an honest conversation with him, like, because I think Neil's pretty sold on Garrett. So maybe I'm wrong on that, but what we hear, Coos, is that Nico already feels a little lied to. So I don't know that. Well, I don't want to throw you in there, but I've heard Nico feels a little betrayed or lied to somewhere along the line, or maybe it's his dad. So will he believe Neil if he says you're going to have a chance to win that thing in camp next year? If that's the case, maybe he does it, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, but then I also,
Nico's,
but you also hear that Nico and Garrett are really close.
you do.
And you hear that that Nico loves it at West Virginia. So you never know. I mean, he could decide to stay, and because Garrett only has one more year, and Nico knows he's the man after him. But then you've got him bringing in these two young. I mean, you got Khalil Wilkins coming in next year. Then after him, you've
Yeah.
got the Fox kid.
Mm-hmm.
We got Sean Boyle, which I don't. No offense to Sean Boyle, but I don't know that he's a threat to Nico. I mean, he didn't even. I mean, he got beat out by a walk on for the number 3 spot on the depth chart. So,
Right.
and again, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but I'm not sure if he's going to up being the guy or not. But it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. I'd obviously love to have them both, but I just think the chances of keeping them both are slim.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I have Matthew. He's a definite dual threat. He is not Garrett Green with the legs. He's more like Nico as far as like his speed. He's not as strong a runner as Nico is yet. But I mean, we're talking about this kid could grow 3 inches by next year. You never know with a guy 2 years out. But he's got a good arm. Um, he reminds me. Kind of reminds me of Sean Boyle. It's what he mentioned. Similar athletic. They're obviously targeting a certain type of player, and it looks to me like they're trying to develop the quarterback position. Fox kid he had a bunch of Power Five offers, but he's got some developing to do. So maybe they feel like Sean Reagan's doing a good job at that. So, um, but this kid, he's still 2 years out. He's got some, so next year's tape is what I'll be interested in. His 24 tape because he's still young, even in high school right now. So
Mm-hmm.
he's obviously, the best player on the field for his team, and he's got a great arm. Like it's there, you can see it. It jumps off his hand. He's got good, probably I would say Garrett Green-esque of velocity. So he throws it hard, but and him from different arm angles, a couple different arm angles. He's not Retzloff. Goodness gracious, that guy right there is going to be good. I can't wait to watch the progression of Retzloff from BYU. But yeah, this kid's he's going to be a good player for us. I think it's hard to tell this early though.
Yeah. I was reading here. Timothy Hedrick left a comment for you. If you want to read that one.
Well, Timothy, I think he's first of all, he's a redshirt freshman. Um, you know, and while we do see guys come in and play well, I think Nico, you know, they switched the offense from his first year to his second year. He went from Graham Harrell's offense to Neil Brown's offense. Those are two different things, two totally new offenses. Garrett had the upper hand in having played in that offense his first year with Daggy, right? Or at least knowing the calls, familiar with Brown as the play caller. So couple that with the fact that Neil Brown was coaching for his ass, and I think Garrett Green was the safe choice too. I've always felt that way. But my question for Garrett, and he's really proven me mostly right, is can he stay healthy? He's been able to do that outside of a couple games, and has he improved? Well, mostly yes. So, but at the end of the day, I still think Nico has more upside. Wherever he goes, I'll believe that. I think if somebody gives him a chance and gets him reps, I think he'll end up being a stud for whoever that is. But they're going to have to invest in him, and let him take the growing pains.
Mm-hmm.
If they do, whoever gets him, whether it's us or somebody else, will be really happy they did. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And yes, we do, Timothy. Khalil Wilkins. And that kid excites me, man. I love watching that kid throw a football. And he can run it too. He's a lefty.
TJ, did you watch the Oklahoma game? Garrett can't have games like that going forward.
Nico
It's
was 0 for
dumb.
4, just so you know, in that
Huh?
game. Nico also looked bad in that game. The few reps he got.
Oh yeah, that was garbage time reps. I mean,
Yeah, which means that
yeah.
they were probably backing off and he still wasn't completing passes. Neither one of them looked good. I don't know. I still think Nico has the ability to be a really good quarterback, but he's not maturing as fast as I thought he would.
He's
Or
not getting playing time.
developing as fast as I thought he would.
I mean, 4 reps ain't nothing.
Well, you can't.
Like
You can't.
just like
Well, he's had
yesterday,
how many? He started. He played basically 2 full games this year.
and they won both.
They did, but he didn't. He only threw the ball a very limited amount, and he threw a couple really bad interceptions.
Redshirt freshman, first year in the offense.
That's my point. You couldn't risk starting him this year.
Yeah, that was my whole argument just now.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason. That's the reason Neil
I
Brown
think
didn't.
I think safe and better both now. Now, will he be better as a senior than what Garrett is now? Maybe. Well, I think he'll probably be I think he'll probably be more accurate passer than what Garrett is at this point in his career. But I'm not sure he'll be a better overall quarterback, if that makes sense. I mean,
love both their running ability.
Yeah, Garrett's putting up all conference type numbers potentially. I mean, he's not going to beat out Dylan Gabriel and Quinn Ewers, I don't think. But other than those two guys, I don't think there's a quarterback in the Big 12 playing better than him right now. Overall,
Retzloff, baby.
When you look at his running ability and his numbers on the ground and everything combined,
I really like Retzloff. I can't get over that.
I can tell.
Just the way he was thrown in.
Yeah, I mean, I was at that game.
Well yesterday.
He looked good, and the problem he had is the playbook was very limited for him, and
they had down, 2 starters out.
Yeah, he was down 2 or 3 of his best receivers, and then he had another one get hurt during the game, so he kind of had the deck stacked against him.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know how it's going to roll with Nico. I really don't. But if he leaves, obviously, here's the thing, man. You always want to. If Neil gets through this year, I think he's going to have a little bit of rope. You would think, but who knows? But hopefully, they're looking in the portal, and if you can get better, you do it. You never know who might land in your lap. You just never know. Uh, I don't know. I don't know who could possibly be out there. I was thinking, I wasn't sure until today if Cam Rising was going to come back. But like, if a guy like that is out there and you can get him, you do it. You know.
Yeah, but
Uh,
we did that with JT Daniels too, and it blew up Burn face.
well, yeah, but the comparison between those two is nowhere near close. As far as success, that dude's won two conference championships. He's got two conference titles under his belt at Utah. But
Yeah.
but you're right. He's also had injury history. So I mean that I was just making a point,
No,
using him to make a point.
I don't
I don't
necessarily.
mean specifically him.
I know. I was just being devil's advocate, but I tend to agree with you. But I think you got to be careful. Which right now the only guy I know of in the portal is Tyler Shuck.
Yeah, and I mean that's the JT Daniels situation
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm not bringing him in. I don't. I'd rather have Garrett Green than Tyler Shuck. I'd rather have
Yeah,
Nico
he's a
than
little
Tyler
bit
Shuck.
better. He's a little bit better throwing it, but not much.
And he's had a bad injury history too. I mean,
He does.
I just
If
I
I
just
knew
don't.
he was going to stay healthy, then we could have a conversation. But I don't know that.
And you got to realize, I mean, Garrett's likely going to get better at throwing the football in the offseason because he has a really high. He has a great work ethic. He's probably going to go to a quarterback camp like he does pretty much every summer and work on
Right.
the game. And he's got a private quarterback coach that he works with, so I'm sure he'll get better. And
Right.
that pass he threw to Jaheim had good touch on it, by the way. Now it may have been because he took a shot, but nonetheless, it had good touch.
The 75 yarder.
Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. The uh, the Preston Fox throw kind of aggravated me. That was early in the game. I know he was probably juiced up a little bit.
yeah,
But man, he's got to hit those. That was a layup. You know,
yeah.
the
I got aggravated.
whatever for whatever reason the corner was playing like he was going to cut in and head towards the pylon. I mean, the court, like they were running side by side, but the corner was like 4 yards away from him. So if he fit that thing down the seam, which is where he just missed it, that was a touchdown. And Preston Fox is going to win a 50-50 ball. That's one thing he does. Too bad he's not 6'3". He'd be the best receiver in the Big 12 probably if he was 6'3".
Preston Fox is a gamer, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he'll be looking like next year.
I mean, we have almost our whole receiving corps back next year, with the exception of Devin Carter, who, let's be frank, hasn't lived up to the hype, which is exactly what Silas said in the comments.
Yeah, no, but also that's also to me a little bit to do with the offensive philosophy. But for the most part, he hasn't. It's not like he's got a quarterback that slings it all over the field.
That's
They
very
run it,
true too. But he's also had some
uh,
drops.
and yeah. But I mean, he was never the number one guy even at NC State. He had a 5-year career there, and where he caught 88 balls over 5 years. So it wasn't like he really is what he's always been.
Right.
It's just that we looked at those to the totality of those numbers, 88 catches for whatever it was, over 1,000 yards in his career, and like 10 or 12 touchdowns. So I mean, he had a nice stat line, but it was over 5 years, and that was my hang up the whole way. But you look at him physically and think, well, he looks like Kevin a little bit, right? So I'm like, well, maybe, I mean, he's never materialized.
Have you heard any of the Country Roads Confidential episodes where they've talked about him and how he gets kind of lazy at times.
Like on film?
No, when they're watching games, there's been multiple times they've seen him jogging on and off the field, between plays, stuff like that. Like not giving, like jogging, like not giving 100%.
He could be one of those situations where he realizes he made a mistake. Like as far as this offense this year wasn't the year to really be a number one receiver in.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he was thinking, I'm never gonna shine here. I don't know that. I was just trying to figure what could make somebody act that way. That
I don't know.
you,
They've mentioned it multiple times on their show.
yeah,
I just thought they don't usually say stuff like that about players.
right.
And there was,
Sometimes you miss on players too.
yeah. I mean, he hasn't been bad by any stretch of imagination. I'm not saying that, but
Well,
I just don't know if he's been number one receiver good.
remember what Tony Gibson told me.
Yeah, I do.
I was
That he
really excited about that. For you guys that don't know, I spoke to Tony Gibson, our former defense coordinator, and he told me that this kid, because he played at NC State, and I thought, well, I was trying to get him on the show. That didn't really work. He wanted to wait till the off season, which I need to reach back out to him for that, Goose.
Yeah.
But uh, I was asking about Devin Carter, and he said that he thinks he could be a number one receiver. So, but he's a defensive coordinator. Maybe he didn't see him every day like that close up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, there was a comment on here I wanted to address.
go ahead.
Timothy Hetrick Jr. Hopefully, they will be, if they make it to the state title game, it'll be against my Princeton Tigers, or I should say my kids' Princeton Tigers, because I didn't go to Princeton.
Is it gonna be Huntington High?
No. Well, Huntington plays Martinsburg in one semifinal game, and Princeton plays Bridgeport in another game. The two winners will play for the state championship. But I give the edge to Martinsburg. They're loaded. They always are.
Over Huntington High?
Over everybody. I think they're the best team in the state.
Mm.
They won their last playoff game 48-0.
Right. I watched Huntington High beat one of the best teams in Ohio 30-something nothing earlier.
Well, that may be a good game. I mean, that could be a really good game.
They got that 4-star kid on the O line there that we tried to get. I assume he's not coming here. Well, to West Virginia.
No, is he a senior?
I thought so, yeah.
I can't remember his name.
I can't either. Unless you're committed to us, I don't really remember.
49. What are you talking about? 49. Oh, Dog's got a challenge against Huntington Timothy. Bulldog all the way.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Don't tell him that, John.
Yeah, I'd rather not know about it. Now I got to go check it out and defend myself.
What, John, what are they saying? Is it good or bad?
And you know it's bad. They don't like me.
Yeah, because you're negative from the jump anyway. I thought you rectified the situation.
Well, with Outlaw, I did.
I thought the situation was dead.
Me and Outlaw are good, but the Oklahoma fans are probably not going to drop it. That's just the way they
Robbie
are.
Martin. Yeah, Robbie Martin. That's right. Thanks, Matthew.
That's the way. Their Oklahoma fans are probably not going to let it go.
Matthew Swanson said Robbie Martin was the kid's name.
By the way,
asking about.
Yeah, I had forgot about him. Judah Price is on the. He's on the team. He's a walk on.
Yeah, he's on the team. Yeah. Oh, you might be talking about as far as on the field.
Yeah, he probably
true freshman too.
Yeah, he's on the practice. He gets a lot of reps on the practice squad and stuff. So who knows?
I'll ask around.
Maybe he can break out and get some snaps in the near future. We'll see. But I do think his size plays a large role in that. we got to remember they've got this general manager on staff now who's going to really be looking at measurables a lot now.
Yeah.
Probably more so than in the past. Matter of fact, he pretty much said as much on the Three Guys Before the Game pod the other day.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I'm gonna jump off of here and go see what's going on in the Outlaw Show, man.
Yeah, I think that's all. I'm waiting this.
I'm
live
gonna
stream.
go. I'm gonna go ruin my night because I can't help myself.
Okay, man. Appreciate it.
Brett.
Hey,
Thanks.
you guys like, subscribe, comment, and all that. Thanks for Coos for coming on. This has been another edition of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. This episode is over. We are out.